Graeme Williams. I'm the head squash professional here at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. I've been working with Olivia for the past 18 months.
I'm Olivia Fichter. I'm world number 20 on the PSA World Tour, and I've been a member of the Philadelphia Cricket Club my entire life, and I've been lucky enough to be working with Graeme for the last year and a half. It's been amazing. As a junior, I would say my brand of squash was I was skillful with the ball. I changed the pace a lot. I loved taking it in. A lot of the rallies, I think, were finished in the front of the court, which doesn't happen very often anymore. But just switching from my game style in juniors, where a lot of my rallies were finishing in the front of the court. My short game was one of my biggest strengths. I think in college squash, everyone gets a bit fitter. Everyone's, training with their team full time. They're working with a strength and conditioning coach for the first time for many. And I think a lot of it comes down to who's able to play more consistently on court and who's a bit fitter. And so when I was injured, that made things really challenging for me. So I actually had to really just rely on using height and my skill for those 2 years. I think fortunately my senior year I was able to get fitter and was able to add a bit more pace into my game, which has now been a big addition to my game now that I've gone pro. But I would say that switch from junior squash to college squash, I wouldn't say I changed much about my game. I just had to get more creative with my decision making when I was injured, and really had to rely on my use of height and defense to get myself out of trouble, because I wasn't able to inject the same amount of pace into the ball given the pain that I was feeling in my back.
Was that a decision that you made, or were you helped with that, or was it just something that playing and you realized that you couldn't and you naturally just evolved the way that you were playing?
Probably a combination. I think I played for Gail Ramsey and Neil Pomfrey, Tyler Osborne, and so had an amazing team around me, and they, we were always working on my ability to defend and be a bit more consistent with my length. Just because I don't think, I look back now at my high school matches and sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I did as well as I did. Just because, but again, I think it was, I got opportunities to volley in the middle. I loved volleying, which I think gave me a leg up against some players. And then I loved taking it in around the middle and in the front and just constantly throwing in variations. So that was my game in juniors. But then I think some of it in college squash I was desperate. I was in so much pain, and I was just out there kind of fighting for my teammates, and I was just willing to do whatever it took to win the rally and get a point for my team. And so it was honestly, I think, just desperation out there and trying. I was hanging on by a thread in a lot of matches, and it was actually it was a hard time, just because all of a sudden I went from, there were only a handful of players I lost to in juniors, and then all of a sudden I found myself losing games, losing matches to players that I was beating comfortably 3-0 in juniors. And so my confidence as a player and my identity as a top player was put into question for a bit when I struggled with that back injury. But I think fortunately I had a great support system around me, and it really did force me to get more creative with my squash, because you just have to go out there and you had to problem solve and find a way to win. So.
And I guess that period where you, like you said, confidence, and you were maybe losing to people you hadn't before.
Yeah.
Do you think that's helped you? Do you like that period of time, that struggle, has that helped you with the transition into being a pro?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think I think that was a big part of what drove my resilience and determination to get healthy for my senior year. And then just that time away just made me appreciate the game so much more. I now look after my body so much better than I did before. I know that, now your body is truly my temple. I mean, I have to look after it so carefully, because any day, given the exercise we're doing, the sessions you're putting me through, the torture you're inflicting, I have to constantly be on top of my body, doing prehab, rehab work, and basically just to avoid that pain that I felt for 2 years. But absolutely, I think anytime, it's rare you're going to be on court and you're going to feel 100%. And so the fact that I was able to get through so many matches where I was in so much pain and just had to find a way, of course that's going to make me tougher and more resilient when I feel a little tight in my back one day, or my hamstring's a little tight, or I have a strain here, because it's going to happen. So I think without question, that experience has made me just a tougher competitor and a better problem solver on court.